First speaker is a professor at the University of the Philippines College of Medicine and the Executive Director of the Philippine Council for Health Research and Development, Department of Science and Technology, to talk on research strategies, trends, and opportunities in the pediatric infectious disease. Let us all welcome Dr. Jaime C. Montoya.
Thank you very much. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. And I'd like specifically to greet my classmate, the President of PIDSP, Chet. Thank you very much. Alam ko, inimbitahan ako because of you and because of lahat ng mga kakumfraternity nyo. Anyway, but I'm very happy to be here, truly happy to be here, because I'm with family. As you probably know, I'm an infectious disease specialist, just like you, or at least interested in infectious disease. So I'd like to talk about things that are close to my heart, and that is actually infectious disease. But I have a different role now, which is as the head of the coordinating body for health research in the Philippines, and that's to talk about research strategies, hopefully to stimulate you all, to interest you, to give you the renewed enthusiasm to do research. I think as doctors, we have to be researchers by heart. Why? Because we have to be continually at pace with the rapid advances in science and technology, especially in our respective field, no? In medicine. You know, what you know now may not necessarily be, or the doctrine, or what is acceptable now may not necessarily be the standard of care in the next 5 or 10 years. You know, the changes are so fast. And I think because of that, you have to keep on reading. And where do you get that information? It's actually outputs of research. Because without the benefit of research, what we know will be stagnant. We will never be at pace. And as was mentioned by our PPS President, kailangan nakikipag-unahan tayo sa ating kalaban, which is the organisms. They're highly evolving, rapidly evolving, and we should always be 2-3 steps ahead of them. Anyway, my role for today is actually to discuss research strategies, trends, opportunities in pediatric infectious disease. And napaka-timely because just yesterday, we had our national meeting at the Manila Hotel, attended by, of course, the Secretary of the Department of Science and Technology, and also our partners in the research sector, university presidents, and some of the professional societies were also there, because we actually presented the National Harmonized R&D Agenda, which I will elaborate further later as part of my talk. My talk will actually be brief. Siguro marami akong ad-lib, but my presentation will really be brief. I'm going to just discuss briefly the current state of science and technology in the country, current state of research in general and for pediatric infectious diseases in the country, research priorities based on the NURA. The NURA is actually the National Unified Health Research Agenda. Just for my awareness, just for my awareness, how many are you familiar with the NURA? Can you please raise your hand? Or at least have seen the NURA? Nako, I really have to do a lot of, pwede ba buong araw magsalita dito? Anyway, well, it only goes to show that we really have to do a lot in terms of dissemination. The NURA provides the national roadmap for health research in the country. If you want to access government funds for research, it has to be aligned with the national priorities. And this is actually written in the National Unified Health Research Agenda. And of course, I will talk about research opportunities in pediatric infectious diseases, its importance and relevance. First, current state of affairs. Baka sabihin nyo, ano kinalaman ng SNP sa doktor? Don't you know that doctors are considered personnel, science and technology personnel. Why? Because medicine is science. And you are, in fact, part of the science community. How do we fare with our counterparts? We are actually improving, but still dismal. The benchmark set by the United Nations or UNESCO, Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, pegs it at 380 researchers per million population. RSEs, researchers, scientists, and engineers. Doctors are actually included there. And the fund that we have to spend on research should account to 1% of the GDP, of gross domestic product, or what we call the government expenditure on research and development, or GERD. Now, how do we fare? First, in terms of ratio, in 2009, we had 180 researchers, scientists, and engineers per 1 million population in the Philippines. The latest data, 2013, shows that we are at 270. So we're still 110 off the mark. That's far. Considering that in ASEAN, for example, tayo ay mataas na lang sa Cambodia, Lao PDR, Vietnam, mukhang mauunahan na tayo, no? So, mataas na lang tayo sa Cambodia, Lao PDR, at saka Myanmar. It's so sad, no? Considering that we have a lot of accomplished Filipinos doing so well in other countries of the world, but here we are grappling with a very poor, very low human resource as far as the sciences are concerned. But we are actually improving. The problem is, even if we have many people taking up science and technology, our population is also going up. So ang numerator natin, bagamat tumataas, ang denominator tumataas din. So the ratio remains the same, or almost, very minimal increase. The same with the GERD, Do you know that by 2050, the World Economic Forum predicted that the Philippines will be one of the 20 world economies? I cannot imagine that we will be one of the world economies. But I think the reason is because by that time, we will already have a population of close to 200 million, which means that with that kind of human resource, and I suppose we took advantage of that human resource, we will really be one of the 20 world economies. Just to tell you yung percentage natin, 1%. How are we faring? Can you guess kung ano ang ating percent expenditure sa health in terms of the GDP? It's 0.1%. So we're 9.9 away from the minimum. But that is actually an improvement already. Before we were actually at 0.05, 0.06, no? So we have to do a lot of homework, no, in order to do what we want to do. But anyway, wag na natin isipin yung mga kasabayan nating mga bansa, isipin na lang natin yung problema natin sa ating bayan, no? Now, of course, in last year, we had the change of administration, and of course, we're under the leadership of President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. And maybe, I don't know if you've seen already the national roadmap that the President has established for the next 6 years. It's called Ambisyon Natin 2040. And the cornerstones are malasakit, pagbabago, kaunlaran. And this will be backed up, of course, by the science and technology sector through a harmonized national research and development agenda. Where does health come in there? It is actually the second pillar. Actually, this is not in order of importance. It just shows you that there are 5 pillars under that national R&D agenda. We have the National Integrated Basic Research Agenda, which steward the basic sciences, agricultural, aquatic, and natural resources, industry, energy, and emerging technology, disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation to climate change, because we are actually one of the most affected countries by climate change, and disaster. So I'd just like to situate ourselves into where we figure in terms of the Duterte priorities. Science for the People, SFTP, is now the call of the science community, and it has 12 priority areas. I think what concerns us, or what will be of importance to you, will be 1, R&D to address pressing problems. Then we also have 4, R&D to apply new technologies across sectors. We also have, I think that will be of interest to you, will be number 10, which is human resource development for science and technology. And of course, 11, capacitating institutions in the regions. President Duterte's, one of his major calls is actually for to reduce inequality. And by reducing inequality, or to reduce inequality, we have to produce or do or promote regional equity. That is why, as I will mention later in my talk, one of the things that we have to do is to decentralize research from the national capital region to the regions. Kasi majority of our researchers are still coming from the national capital region. And I think we have a lot of good researchers in the regions, and they also have to be capacitated. So it's about time for us to give them the opportunity to also do research. Okay. The other development I'd like to you appreciate is the passage of Republic Act 10532, or what we call the Philippine National Health Research System Act of 2013, during the time of President Benigno Noynoy Aquino. Now, if you remember, during that year, there were about more than 200 bills in Congress. Half of them actually were vetoed by the President, but this particular bill was passed into law. So fortunately, the President saw the importance of having this bill in place. Now, what is this bill? It only gives importance to the relevance and significance of health research. The Philippine National Health Research System is the national integrated framework for health research. And there are 4 core agencies that are now working together under the health research system framework, no? And that is the Department of Science and Technology through our council, which has been recognized and mandated as the national coordinating body for health research in the Philippines. Of course, our twin, sinasabi ko twin kasi we do not do anything outside of the Department of Health. The Department of Health is the other core agency, and the Commission for Higher Education for Human Resource Development, and the National Institutes of Health, the University of the Philippines, Manila, being the national university. Now, let me go to the research priorities for health S&T, and I actually put in red maybe the areas that will be of interest to you as researchers in pediatric infectious disease. The first is diagnostics, drug discovery and development, functional foods. Actually, dengue should be in fact, a bold red there because dengue affects, of course, children, nutrition, food quality, and safety. Now, infectious diseases account for 15 million deaths per year worldwide, and disproportionately affect young people, elderly people, and the poorest sections of society. And with the Sustainable Development Goals, goal number 3, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all ages. So kitang-kita nyo na how important health is, particularly for children. You already know this, but just to show you that consistently, infectious disease remain in the leading causes of mortality, regardless of the age group. 1 to 4 years old, 5 to 9 years old, 10 to 14 years old. And this is interesting because if you look at the overall mortality, cardiovascular diseases have already overtaken, pneumonia and the other infectious disease. But in the vulnerable age groups, which are in the young people infectious disease remain to be the leading cause of death. Pneumonia, diarrhea, and congenital anomalies are the leading cause of death among children below 5 years of age. Bacterial sepsis, pneumonia, and respiratory distress are the top leading causes of infant mortality. So, because of that basic fact, and I think we do not dispute that, no one in this room can dispute that, we now have to figure out how do we address the pressing problems of infectious disease in the country. And this is actually exemplified in the National Unified Health Research Agenda. You can see that since 2000, we already came out with a priority listing. During the time of President GMA, through the period of 2006 to 2010, and the period of President Aquino from 2011 to 2016. Currently, we are preparing for the NURA from 2018 to 2022 for the Duterte administration, and we are going to launch it in the National Assembly of the Philippine National Health Research System to be held in Cagayan de Oro City in August of this year. I'm very sure that for some of you who are very active in the Regional Health Research and Development Consortia, you will be attending that big meeting. Because in that big meeting, we will be presenting the National Roadmap for Health Research for the period of 2018 to 2022. But I will give you a bird's eye view of, or an initial preview, sorry, of the SNT priorities, which will be part of that NUHRA. Because the NURA will not only include technology-based research, it includes all forms of health research from basic to applied, from operational to health systems, to policy, to biomedical, clinical trials, name it, it's all in the National Unified Health Research Agenda. It provides the focus and direction for health research and development efforts, serves as a guide for policymakers, funding and donor agencies and researchers. By the way, even foreign funding agencies have to make sure that the research that they're going to fund in the Philippines is aligned along the NURA before it can pass through NEDA. It provides evidence-based solutions for pressing health problems and serve as the basis to maximize resource utilization and minimize duplication of research efforts. As I said, I will be presenting the SNT component of that research priority today. There are 4 major areas in the NURA, which is health technology development. I will discuss that briefly today. Health financing, to realize the dream of universal health care. Health service delivery, which is actually healthcare delivery, which is also of your concern. And socio-environmental health concerns. The research priorities for health technology development, which is part of the Harmonized National R&D Agenda and part of the National Unified Health Research Agenda, is a consolidation of health research priorities of the Department of Science and Technologies agencies, because we're actually the steward of the SNT agenda. And we conducted several consultations, both from the public and the private sector, in order to come up with this listing. Now let's go to the areas of interest in this SNT research priority. First, diagnostics. Development of diagnostic kits for priority infectious diseases and non-communicable diseases for the early detection and/or prediction of disease and mortality, utilizing existing technologies that are off-patent or lapse technology and/or novel technology. Such technology will also look at genetic or biological markers associated with diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. What are the priority diseases? Infectious disease, dengue and dengue-like illness, multi-drug resistant, extensively drug-resistant TB, drug-resistant malaria, influenza-like illness, leptospirosis, sepsis, human immunodeficiency virus, hepatitis, to name a few. For drug discovery and development, researchers will aim to discover new drugs which can be developed up to the preclinical stage, and it will involve the discovery of compounds or molecular drug targets that can serve as candidates for drug development. and drugs will be developed for common infectious diseases and lifestyle-related disorders. First, we are actually standardizing herbal drugs and discovery of new drugs from local sources for development up to the preclinical stage. Do you know that the Philippines is one of the 3 most biodiverse countries in the world? No? And one of the most exciting areas we're working on now is looking at our ocean environment or the marine environment as a source for these drug candidates. Some of the infectious diseases we're actually targeting are, of course, bacterial infections to address the problems of drug resistance, viral diseases, and fungal infections. Of course, the group of diseases that are actually increasing by leaps and bounds are non-communicable diseases. Grabe ang rate of increase niya. It's almost vertical, no? While the increase of infectious disease have remained more or less the same, but non-communicable diseases have really zoomed up. Then the other area is nutrition and food quality and safety. Food quality and safety refers to the assurance that food will not cause harm to the consumer when prepared or eaten according to its intended use. I'd like to emphasize that children are the most vulnerable age groups that have to be addressed in terms of nutritional problems. Micronutrient deficiencies, macronutrient deficiencies, overnutrition, and there's an interesting study that obesity is now becoming a problem, particularly in the urbanized populations among children, and nutrition-related disorders. Food fortification is actually one of the priority researches, especially by the Food and Nutrition Research Institute, and the development and revision of nutrition tools and standards as basis for nutrition guidelines. We also are looking at nutritional assessment and monitoring and designing nutrition intervention programs. Food quality and safety, as I said, is important. And last but not the least, dengue. Dengue has and will always be an important infectious disease we have to address. You have seen that dengue is consistently in the top 10 leading causes of mortality in children, no, across age groups. And we are focusing on reduction of transmission through vector control, involve the targeting the mosquito vectors in the habitats of its larval and adult stages and where human vector contact may occur, and develop an early warning system by developing alert levels, integrating entomological, environmental, and socio-demographic data for the prediction of dengue outbreaks. We're looking at the vector biology, vector surveillance, dengue case management, and dengue outbreak management. Now, to support all of these researches, we're actually advancing and upgrading the platforms of technology, and I think the most exciting here is genomics and molecular technology. Molecular and genomics technologies will use the information in the human genome in the design of vaccines, therapeutics, and diagnostic devices or products. What are the priority diseases? Cardiovascular diseases is there. Infectious diseases is there for TB, dengue, influenza, among others. Cancer, diabetes, neurodegenerative diseases. Now, the last part of my talk, because I just have 30 minutes for my talk, and I'd like to delve more on the things that what I hope PIDSP can do in terms of research for infectious diseases. The Science for Change program is what we call S4CP, has been launched by the Department of Science and Technology, and it's actually a bill that will be passed into law. And yesterday, we had a long discussion with Congressman Joey Salceda, who is the #1 proponent for this bill. And based on our discussions and based on our meetings with the Congress people, this is a priority bill. And chances are it will really be passed into law. Now, what is the Science for Change program about? It endeavors to significantly accelerate science, technology, and innovation in the country through, and I should say, massive increase in investment on science and technology, human resource development, and R&D through a number of programs. We have a program expansion in 10 areas. I will discuss that very, very briefly. New programs in 5 areas, S&T human resource development, and accelerated R&D program for capacity building of research and development. Alam niyo po, before, we used to say, walang pera sa research. At namomblema tayo sa kung paano makakahanap ng pera for research. When I was a researcher, young researcher, well, researcher na ako na ngayon, o senior researcher. But when I was a young researcher, hinahanap mo lagi saan kukuha ng pera. Pumunta ka sa mga funding agency, limited ang resources. So then you have to look, or sometimes even fund yourself. No? When I was a resident and a fellow. But that is not the case anymore. Medyo mayabang kami. Totoo yan. Because we have lots of money in research. Ang problema, walang nag-a-apply, walang kumukuha. Now, you have to understand that the money we're talking of is your money. It's my money. It's all of us own the money. It's people's money. Which means that for government to fund the project, it has to be a project worth funding. And there are several criteria you have to satisfy, the most important of which is it has to impact on the majority of Filipinos, no? Because it's people's money. And this Science for Change law will ensure that money will always be there, regardless of the administration. Fortunately, since the time of Arroyo, talagang progressive ang increase ng funding namin. But of course, you don't know. Maybe a president will come along na hindi na research ang priority, then it disappears. But this law actually will ensure that research will prosper and flourish regardless of the person leading the country. Alam nyo ba na in this law, and in fact, the bill is already being reviewed by the Department of Budget and Management. Hindi nga ako makapaniwala, but I have to say this in public because you can actually look at the document to the congressional website. You know how much money will be put into this program? Over a period of 5 years, 1.3 trillion. Hindi bilyon trillion pesos. It is as big as the General Appropriations Act annually of the government. But it's for 5 years. So roughly it will be so many 100 billion per year, no? But of course, hindi lang health yan. It's across sectors, no? Agriculture, industry, energy. But of course, what I always say, ano ba ang research na talagang may direct benefit sa tao? Ano ba yun? It's health. It's health. More than any other sector, it's health. That is why we hope to get the biggest chunk of that pie. But that is only possible if we have researchers like you, new researchers, and even the researchers ngayon to still continue doing research para mangyari yan. Now, last year, we had a meeting with the PISMID, in the annual meeting last year, we signed an agreement with the PISMID that we're going to provide them a research grant in partnership with them to the tune of 1.5 million per year to provide grants to infectious disease researchers, of course, sa PISMID. I'd like to pose this challenge. I'm sure, Chet, papayag ka dito. I'd like to have a similar arrangement with PIDSP because I think baka nga mas malaki pa doon if you want. Dahil tingin ko, the children are really the most vulnerable as far as infections are concerned. So definitely, we have to give support to this particular age group. So, makakaasa ba kami na papartner kayo sa amin in terms of this research initiative? Yes. Parang hina-hina nung yes. Ewan ko, parang ano yan eh. At saka, wala bang palakpak dyan? Hindi ka natutuwa? Alam nyo, pag pumalakpak kayo, hindi nyo ako pinapalakpakan. Ang pinapalakpakan nyo yung programa, hindi po ako. Because ang programa nandyan, kahit sino nakaupo dyan, patatapuhin yung programa. No? Kami ay nandito lang para siguraduhin na yung programa tatakbo. Now, the second one, which I'd like to ask the help of PIDSP, last year, we also launched an ambitious program, and that is what we call Clinical Research Fellowship Program. Now, ano ba to? Kasi alam nyo, nung ako'y pumasok sa PCHRD, sa DOST, na-discovery ko na ang mga pumapasok sa research, as far as the researches na finafund ng DOST, ng PCHRD, are mostly PhDs, no? Or masters yung iba. Mabibilang ko sa kamay ko yung mga MDs na gumagawa ng research. Bakit ganon? Hindi ako makapaniwala kasi sino ba nakakaalam the most about health research? Di ba tayo mga doktor? Because we are not only working, kahit pa kayo magtrabaho sa lab, you also know the other side, which is the patient. And a convergence of the two makes up the best health researcher. Ang problema, ang mga doktor, tayo, kasama ako doon, masaya-masaya tayo na mag-practice. 24/7, no, kumita. Oo. So research, naku, hindi yan interest yan. Naku, makakakain pa yan ng oras namin sa pagkita, no? Hindi ko sinasabi na majority yan, ha? Impression ko lang yan, no? Paano natin ngayon ma-stimulate ang mga MDs natin na mag-research? Nag-isip kami ng strategy, which is being done in the other countries. They provide what we call clinical research fellowships. What is this? They allow clinicians to go abroad for training in research, pero ang attraction dito, siyempre on the side, may clinical. Hindi lang naman research yan, no? So, para maengganyo sila na mag-research training, may clinical on the side, and then, pagbalik nila, to continue doing research. We succeeded na. The one example is, actually, dalawa na yung aming ilo-launch this year. One is a clinical research fellowship partnership with the Mayo Clinic, which is ranked one of the top 3 hospitals in the US. And we'll be sending 2 clinical research fellowships to Mayo Clinic, all expenses paid. No? But that is currently within, kasi siyempre ako kasi may bias dahil ako taga PGH at sa IBS. So, inopen namin yan sa aming fellows sa ID, no? Sa PGH. But, simula lang yan. We plan to open it also to non-PGH researchers. So, in other words, sa labas ng UP system, no? And the second fellowship is Liver Science Fellowship. This is hepatology. At ang kausap ko naman ay yung Hepatology Society of the Philippines. So magpapadala sila every year ng GI Fellow to the University of Trieste to train on liver science research. May clinical training on the side then come back here to do more research. Binanggit ko to dahil maybe in partnership with PIDSP, we can have a clinical research fellowship also from PIDSP. You can help us screen the candidates. Maybe we can develop a partnership with some of the leading hospitals in the US or in the UK or in Europe for research, clinical research training, and as I said, clinical training on the side. Naisip ko agad yung, kasi ako may konting connection sa UK, yung Hospital for Sick Children sa Great Ormond Street. We can have a partnership with them to send maybe 2 or 3 clinical research fellows to the UK for training. Hopefully for them to come back here to continue research. Pwede ba natin pag-usapan yan sa PIDSP? Okay, we'll do that. And probably, through my conversation with you, you can also give us ideas on how we can move doctors to do research. Siyempre, ang thinking namin, baka we don't think out of the box eh. Very traditional pa yung way of thinking namin. Maybe you have some wild idea of how we can stimulate or encourage our doctors, clinicians, to go into research. And by the way, research in the broadest sense, hindi lang yan laboratory research. Clinical research still falls under research. Operational, health systems, policy, clinical practice guidelines, lahat ito research. No? Kasi akala ng iba, ang research na kinukonsider namin, yung research lang in the lab. No? In fact, ang maganda nga yung nasa other end. Kasi that's direct application na. So, that is also research. So, as I end my talk, I'd like to thank everyone for giving me this opportunity to talk. It's not often that I'm given this chance to talk. Usually, I'm invited to talk for my specialty. Okay lang yon, but I enjoy talking also about my other lab, which is really research. Ako masaya na ako na may mga bagong breed of scientists, especially in the health sector, who will take the lead as far as research is concerned. We are very much willing to support the research initiatives of the PIDSP. We're willing to discuss with you, maybe you have other plans and programs in mind, but we're very willing to discuss that with you with the end objective of ensuring the health of each and every Filipino child, as you mentioned in your hymn. Maraming salamat po sa inyong panahon.
Thank you, Dr. Jaime, for enlightening us on the research strategies.